They've been fooling us for years. We were told that the only real way to grow fruit trees was to dig deep, bury them in the ground, and let the roots run wild. Let them spread, let them grow, they said. So I followed that advice time and time again. But every season ended the same: rotted roots, dying trees, and crushed hope. Then one year, I broke every so-called rule I'd been taught. And what happened next changed not just my garden, but the way I see growing itself. Hey friends, welcome to Golden Garden Wisdom, your space for honest gardening, true results, and heartfelt stories, especially for our wise and seasoned growers tuning in from the US, Canada, and the UK. If you've ever planted a fruit tree full of hope only to watch it fade away, I understand that heartbreak. I've lived it. But today might just be the moment that turns things around for you, because I'm sharing 10 fruit trees that actually thrive better in pots than they ever do in the ground. And number 8, that one almost made me cry. It taught me more about patience, loss, and second chances than I ever expected to learn from a plant. Before we dig in, let me be clear, this isn't just another gardening channel. This is a movement. A place where outdated garden myths are challenged, where people like you rediscover the magic of growing in new ways. So if something stirs in your heart while you're watching, hit like, drop a comment saying this is a powerful new channel, I'm here for the journey, and share this with someone who needs to see that change is possible. Subscribe not just for gardening tips, but for stories that speak to your soul. We're creating something special here, and I'd love for you to be part of it from the start. I remember the exact moment everything changed. I was tired of burying trees and burying hope with them. Out of desperation, I lifted a dying lemon tree from the ground and placed it into an old clay pot. I didn't expect much, I just couldn't face losing another plant. Within weeks it came alive, the leaves turned bright green, new buds formed, and suddenly there was life again. I was amazed, and honestly a little angry. Why didn't anyone ever tell me this? Why did I have to discover it the hard way? That day, everything shifted, and that's why I'm here to make sure you don't have to learn the hard way too. This isn't just a list of trees, it's about reclaiming joy in your garden. It's about finding beauty in simplicity, strength in small spaces, and rediscovering the peace that grows right under your care. So let's begin. This one's close to my heart. Years ago, I planted a fig tree directly in the ground, just like everyone said I should. It grew, yes, but barely. Weak branches, slow fruit, endless disappointment. I thought I just didn't have the green thumb for it. Then one day, I decided to plant a second fig tree, this time in a large terracotta pot on my patio. I expected nothing. But within a year, that little tree was overflowing with fruit, more than the one in the ground had ever produced in 5 years. Here's the secret nobody mentions. Fig trees love being confined. When their roots are slightly restricted, they respond with stronger growth and sweeter fruit. In the wild, their roots spread too far and lose focus. But in a pot, that gentle stress triggers abundance. You only need a pot about 18 to 24 inches wide, well-draining soil, and plenty of sunlight. No complicated fertilizers or deep trenches, just steady care and water. And one morning you'll step outside expecting leaves and find ripe, tender figs ready for picking. That moment feels magical, like the garden is finally giving back everything you've put into it. 2. Meyer lemon. I'll never forget the winter I almost gave up on lemons. I had a beautiful Meyer lemon tree full of life until one freezing night ended it all. The next morning I held brittle branches in my hands and felt something break inside me too. A year later I tried again, but this time I kept the tree in a large movable pot near the house where I could roll it indoors during frost. The result? Absolute transformation. It thrived, it blossomed, the air smelled like a sunlit Mediterranean grove. Meyer lemons are made for containers. They're naturally compact, their roots love snug spaces, and pots let you control light, temperature, and water perfectly. Use a citrus-friendly soil mix, a deep pot preferably with wheels, and give it at least 6 hours of sunlight daily. When it blooms, gently shake the plant to help with pollination. Soon you'll be harvesting warm, golden lemons from your own porch. That first bite, sweet, tangy, sun-kissed, will remind you of the moment you stopped following the rules and started growing for results. 3. Olive tree. For the longest time, I believed olive trees could only survive in dry, hot regions. Don't even try, people said. And for years, I listened, until I met an elderly gardener in southern England. She showed me her 12-year-old olive tree, thriving in a simple ceramic pot, silver green leaves shimmering in the breeze. It looked like a miracle. That day, I bought my own olive sapling and gave it a home on my patio. Here's the truth. Olives adore pots. They don't just survive, they prosper. All they need is good sunlight, drainage, and patience. Use sandy soil, a wide pot around 20 inches or more, and let it soak in the sun all day. Don't overwater. It prefers to stay a little dry. And when winter comes, move it indoors or insulate the pot. Over time, you'll see the trunk thicken, the leaves glisten, and one day, tiny green olives forming. It's not just a tree, it's living proof that you don't need an Italian vineyard to grow your own olives. You just need courage to defy the old rules. And up next, number 4 is a fruit you probably loved as a kid, but never realized could grow beautifully right on your patio, inside a simple pot. I still remember planting my very first apple tree, dreaming of baskets full of fruit, cozy fall pies, and crisp mornings in the orchard, but reality was different. Season after season, the tree barely grew, pests attacked it, fruit was scarce, and my dreams slowly wilted away. Then one afternoon, at a local garden show, I spotted something that stopped me in my tracks: a tiny apple tree, no taller than 4 feet, sitting in a raised pot, and absolutely covered in fruit. I couldn't believe my eyes. I brought one home that same day, placed it in a half-barrel container, and within a year it was loaded with apples, more than my ground-grown tree ever produced. Dwarf apple trees are specially grafted for container growing. They love snug roots, and they're easy to prune, care for, and harvest. Choose compact varieties like Honeycrisp or Fuji, plant them in rich, well-draining soil, and give them full sunlight. Use a stake early on to help support their young branches. When spring arrives, if bees are scarce, hand-pollinate the flowers to help them set fruit. Let them rest outdoors through winter, unless your temperatures drop below 20 degrees for long stretches. Watching plump apples grow on a miniature tree feels almost magical, like you've discovered a gardener's secret shortcut. You don't need acres or an orchard, just one pot, one tree, and a willingness to grow differently. And trust me, number 5 brings the color, the fragrance, and maybe your next favorite plant: pomegranate tree. My love for pomegranates began at a kitchen table. I was a teenager, cracking one open from the grocery store, my fingers stained red, the air sweet and sharp. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I could grow one myself. Years later, a gardening friend from Ontario told me something strange but unforgettable: pomegranates thrive when they're a little stressed. I didn't understand until I saw his container-grown tree bursting with fiery blooms. That same week I bought a dwarf variety, placed it in a large sunlit pot and waited. I've never looked back. Pomegranates love container life. The slight root restriction encourages them to focus on flowers and fruit. Use a 10-15 gallon pot with cactus-style soil, and water deeply but infrequently. They need full sun, and if you live in a colder climate, bring the pot indoors once temperatures drop below freezing. When the first buds open, glowing orange and alive, you'll understand why ancient cultures called this tree sacred. And when you finally split open your first homegrown fruit, juicy ruby red and bursting with life, it's more than a harvest. It's a reminder that the impossible is closer than you think. And we're only halfway through the list. Wait until you see number 8. It's a showstopper. But before that, let's talk about a little citrus tree that lights up even the darkest winters. 6. Calamond and orange. As a child visiting my aunt in Florida, I remember seeing a small tree by her kitchen window, glowing with tiny orange fruits. I thought they were fake, perfect little ornaments. Turns out they were calamond oranges, and they were very real. Years later, living in the cold gray Midwest, I found myself missing that warmth. Then, one winter, I discovered a small calamond tree at a nursery. I brought it home, potted it up, and placed it by the sunniest window in my house. Within months, it was covered in blossoms, and then tiny golden fruits. Indoors, I was amazed. These trees are born for container life. They stay compact, self-pollinate, and produce tart but delicious fruit, perfect for marmalades, drinks, and desserts. Plant them in a 10-12-inch pot filled with citrus-friendly soil. Give them 6 to 8 hours of bright light daily, and in summer move them outdoors to soak up natural sun. When temperatures dip below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, bring them back inside. Every time it blooms, your entire room fills with a scent like a tropical breeze. And when guests ask, "Wait, you grew that?" you'll just smile, proud and a little smug, because yes, you did, and you didn't even need a garden to do it. But hold on, because number 7, it's even juicier. Literally, dwarf peach tree. You don't truly understand gardening heartbreak until you've watched a strong, healthy peach tree collapse under its own weight after a storm. That was me, standing in the rain, heartbroken, staring at peaches scattered in the mud. I promised myself I'd never try again, but gardening has a way of bringing you back. A mentor of mine in Pennsylvania told me, peaches don't fight when they're in pots, they just grow. I decided to give it one last try, planting a dwarf peach variety in a large container filled with rich, loamy soil. That summer, to my amazement, I harvested over a dozen juicy peaches from a tree no taller than my shoulders. The secret? Varieties like Bonanza or Golden Gem are perfect for containers. Give them at least 6 hours of full sun, water consistently but never overdo it, and let them settle into a pot that provides gentle root structure. The container naturally helps them focus their energy on producing fruit instead of sprawling roots. In colder climates, allow your peach tree to rest through winter, then move it into an unheated garage or shed to protect it from deep frost. There's something profoundly moving about biting into a warm, sun-ripened peach you grew yourself, juice running down your chin, pride swelling in your heart, all from a pot on your porch, and yet what comes next will completely shift the way you think about gardening. 8. Lime tree. This story still makes me emotional. When I first moved into my tiny apartment in Chicago, I had no yard, just a small balcony and a dream. On a whim, I picked up a baby lime tree from a weekend market, potted it in a wide ceramic container, and set it outside where it could catch the afternoon light. Weeks passed, and one day I came home from work to find a single perfect lime glowing in the sunset. I just stood there, smiling like a kid. That little tree rekindled my belief in what's possible.
Lime trees adore containers, especially if you live in areas with cold winters. Varieties like bears or kaffir thrive in pots. Use a 15 to 20 inch pot with proper drainage, citrus soil, and give them 8 hours of sunlight daily. Keep the soil lightly moist but let the top layer dry out between waterings. When winter comes, bring them indoors. They make stunning natural decor. If you're lucky, they'll even bloom inside, filling your home with that unmistakable citrus perfume. The first time you slice your own homegrown lime and drop it into a drink or drizzle it over grilled fish, you'll feel it proof that even in a small city space, life can still flourish beautifully. And now, number 9. One of my most personal gardening victories. 9. Stella cherry, dwarf variety. Every spring I'd watch the cherry blossoms bloom on my neighbor's tree, petals fluttering like confetti, and dream that one day I'd have my own. So I planted a cherry tree in the ground, cared for it lovingly, and waited. Each year a few cherries appeared, and every year the birds got to them first. It felt like a cruel joke. Then I learned about dwarf cherry trees, especially the Stella variety, which can thrive in containers. I planted one in a large wine barrel, and for the first time I got to taste the fruit myself. Growing cherries in pots gives you something the ground never will control. You can move them into sunlight, protect them before frost, and easily guard them with netting when fruit appears. Choose self-pollinating varieties like Stella. Use rich, well-draining soil and water deeply but sparingly. They love sun and fresh air around their base. Prune them yearly to keep them compact and beautiful. And when you finally hold a cluster of ripe ruby-red cherries in your hands warmed by the sun, you'll know it was worth every bit of patience. That first taste, it's like your garden whispering, "See, you did it." But before we wrap up, let's talk about one final tree. Exotic, unexpected, and truly unforgettable. 10. Guava tree. For most of my life, guava felt like something out of reach, a fruit from faraway places, found only on tropical vacations or in expensive juices. That belief shattered at a gardening expo in California, where I met a woman proudly standing beside her potted guava tree, overflowing with blooms. She handed me a slice of her fruit and said with a smile, "This came from my backyard." I was stunned. That moment changed me. I ordered a tropical white guava, planted it in a sunny corner of my deck, and watched it flourish. Guava trees love heat, sunlight, and humidity, but they don't need to be in the ground to thrive. In fact, with proper care, they can flourish beautifully in containers. Use a 15-20-gallon pot filled with rich tropical soil, and make sure it gets full sun. Water regularly, but never let it sit in soggy soil. If frost threatens, bring it indoors or into a greenhouse. Guavas are tougher than they look, and growing them in pots makes it easier to shield them from the cold and pests. When your first guava ripens, the sweet floral fragrance will reach you before the fruit does. That's when you'll realize you've done something extraordinary. You've grown the impossible, right at home. This isn't just gardening anymore. It's reinvention. It's freedom. It's proof that you can grow abundance anywhere. Closing message. So which one are you going to try first? Tell me in the comments. I'll be right there reading your stories. I wish someone had told me all this sooner. It would have saved me years of frustration, lost trees, and self-doubt. I thought I wasn't good enough, but it wasn't me. It was the old advice. Let me be the one to tell you. You don't have to plant fruit trees in the ground to succeed. In fact, growing them in pots might just be the smartest, most fulfilling decision you ever make as a gardener. Your plants deserve to thrive, and so do you. Take control, grow differently, and watch your garden reward you for it. If this video opened your eyes or touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Golden Garden Wisdom. In the next video, I'll reveal the 10 biggest mistakes people make when growing fruit trees in containers, and one of them might be the very reason your plants are struggling right now. Don't miss it. Your garden's next chapter starts here.